Welcome to Gold Star Classroom, the podcast where our panelists go back to school. We'll grade them on their answers to a variety of general knowledge and trivia questions. They don't know what we're going to ask, and we don't know what they're going to say. The student with the highest grade at the end of the class will win the coveted classroom prize, the Golden Banana. I'm your host and headmaster, Professor Jerry Jaffe. Welcome to today's episode of Gold Star Classroom, being recorded live at Tolth's Place in Mentor. I'm your host and headmaster, Dr. Jerry Jaffe, and it is my pleasure to introduce today's students. Sitting on my right is an ex-televangelist, Eddie Werner.
Hey everybody, great to be here.
Hey,
Thanks,
Eddie.
Joe. Hi.
And sitting on my left is the creator of the web series Forkful of Noodles, and today's token foreign guy, Krish Mohan.
It's going to be 9 hours of me with special features.
Well, we'll spread those out over several episodes so I keep up the quota of the token foreign guy.
Perfect.
That's just one part of the series.
This is part one.
Trilogy.
Sitting directly across from me is disgraced Prince John Hoffner.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here, disgraced Prince John Hoffner. And sitting across and to my left, a comedian whose CD is known as American Pothead at Band Camp, Chris Paul.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, American Pothead. This is not band camp. This is class. Now it's for real. It's for a grade. It really counts. This is not an extracurricular activity. In fact,
one time at band camp.
No. Please keep it PG. I am your teacher, and it is my job to quiz you on the depths and width of human learning, and as any teacher would do, grade your answers. And at the end of the class, the student with the highest grade wins the coveted classroom prize, the Golden Banana.
Oh.
Are you gentlemen ready for your first topic?
Oh, yeah.
I only care if I beat John.
I'm foreign, so I'm probably going to win.
The odds, the odds are in your favor, Chris Paul, due to John's homeschooling. Now,
Hey, I agree with that.
oh, so you learned more than we thought.
And he's not even good at competition. Those homeschool kids are weird.
Well,
He
we're
didn't have a real friend until he was 18.
with a token foreign guy where you have to grade on a curve, so the other three students start off with 100 points.
Yay.
Okay.
Damn it.
The first question is from the realm of biology. I'm going to ask you a technical word for something, and we'll see if anyone besides Krish knows what it is. What is the more common everyday expression for what scientists might refer to as the laryngeal prominence?
Oh, Adam's apple.
Bing, bing, bing.
Oh,
10 points for Eddie Werner.
I actually didn't know that one.
Oh, minus 10 points for Krish Mohan.
Yeah, every time he doesn't know one.
Yes.
Points.
What do I
I
announce
beat the
these
Indian
things?
guy with a science question.
It's just the beginning, Eddie.
Okay,
That's just
so-
the beginning.
Laryngeal prominence is the technical medical expression for the Adam's apple.
So far, I'm tied with Hoffner.
Technically, it's not a fair question because I don't have one yet.
You do have a suspiciously small one.
It's coming in. It's more of an Adam's peach.
Well, regardless of size or gender, or
What does
What?
it mean when a lady has an Adam's apple?
well, it means she's a normal human being because all human beings have one.
What?
In fact,
Whose soprano voice was that?
Krish loses another 10 points for not knowing women had Adam's apples.
I totally knew.
Plus 10 points for John.
So much about women I don't know is what I'm discovering already.
What is the function of the Adam's apple? It is part of the human biology. It does do something. What does it do?
Oh, it makes her voice sound cool and sexy.
It proves that God is real.
Well, let's hear everyone's answer, and then we'll say what's right or wrong. John or Eddie, do you agree, disagree, or want to add anything? What does the Adam's apple actually do for you?
Does it have something to do with stopping you from choking?
And Eddie.
I think it's part of your larynx or your voice box, and that's why guys have bigger ones than women, because we have like lower voices. So it's just kind of like a bigger voice box thing for us.
Eddie's answer is the closest to the correct, although actually no one was correct. So none of you get points.
And Chris loses 10.
And Chris loses 10.
Damn it.
But
Can you give us a clue?
well,
Just
I
kinda
will-
nurture us along.
it is related to the larynx, and that's why, which is the technical word for voice box. But it is not part of the larynx. It protects the larynx. So the cartilage of the Adam's apple protects the larynx. Now, because of that, what Chris said was also kind of 25% right, because it does affect what your voice sounds like.
Makes
Plus
it cool and
5
sexy.
points.
But it's actually the way Eddie said it. Hey, I give out the points around here, Chris Paul.
50 points.
You said it backwards, but it's so long ago I can't remember exactly how you put it. So the
get
correct
that a lot.
answer is it does affect the resonance of your voice. So it's not why men have deeper voices, but it's related to why men have deeper voices. But men's voice boxes are like slightly bigger and slightly different, and then the Adam's apple is slightly bigger and slightly different. So the resonance is slightly different. So there's a relationship there, but it's sort of like which came first, the Adam's apple or the lower voice.
Sounds like a lot of techno babble.
A little bit, a little bit.
Spoken like a true stoner.
There's some techno babble I copied off the internet. A larger soundboard is made up in phonation apparatus, and as a result, the man gets a deeper voice note. Let me
So a
ask.
sexier voice.
Correct. I do have one other Adam's apple related question. Probably John with his homeschooling will have the head start on this one. What is the origin of calling it Adam's apple? Why is that the common parlance for Adam's apple?
Let John go first.
I can take that.
Yeah, no,
Chris
John.
Paul.
go
No,
ahead,
Chris
Chris.
Paul, you spoke
All right.
up first.
Bring your religion.
Because of the apple that Adam ate in the Garden of Eden,
Oh, yeah, that
got
was
stuck in his throat, and then he choked to death, and there were no humans after that.
Thus proving evolution correct.
So Chris Paul's answer about Adam and eating the apple and that became like in the throat somehow as a kind of almost punishment. That is one of the two predominant theories for why people call it Adam's apple. So I'm going to give Chris Paul full points for that. That's a gold star for Chris. Very good, Chris.
Is there another interpretation?
But there is another interpretation.
Give us a chance.
One that is probably closer to correct, by the way.
Is it because it's atom shaped? Is it like a physiological shape kind of thing? And maybe the doctor that first discovered it was like Adam Bernstein or something like that. That first came
And that
out
is
with
sometimes the way things are named. Doctors or scientists who discover things. But in this case, no. I will give you a small clue. There is still a religious connotation, but it's just from a completely different angle. Is
it supposed to be some kind of symbol for original sin with Adam? I mean, that's what the apple usually stands for.
Yeah, that kind of goes with what Chris was saying.
Yeah.
And also, I will add about Chris's answer, which was like one of the basically that's one of the two guesses for why we call it Adam's apple. There's nothing in the Old Testament about the forbidden fruit becoming part of like a punishment, but that was a popular mythology, like a sort of extra biblical belief during the Middle Ages.
They never actually refer to it as an apple either.
Correct. That is very correct. 5 bonus points just for knowing your theology.
Can you give us
yeah.
one more
I mean,
clue?
yes,
It
yeah.
sounds related, but somehow different at the same time.
The difference is that it's not about like mythology. It's about
Adam Lambert.
How Adam Lambert eating an apple one day. No, it's about how words get mistranslated.
Oh, so it's so it's an Adam Levine song. So what happened was Adam Levine
Is he
was
Maroon 5?
this is before Maroon 5. This is pre-Maroon 5. In order to popularize Maroon 5, he had to give something up, and he gave away his voice box. and then in return he got an apple. Henceforth, that's why it's called an Adam's
And
apple.
he got an angel's voice box.
And then he got an angel's voice box.
Were you
guys.
by any chance homeschooled as well? I'm just wondering.
Nope, I'm foreign.
Even
so you
better.
get homeschooled in the
So you're
hut.
saying Adam's apple sounds like something else?
It's something that was mistranslated, yes.
From what language?
Yeah.
Originally from Hebrew.
Oh, Adam Snapple.
Adam Sandler. He's Jewish.
Apple Snapple. The Latin phrase that referred to this going back centuries was pomum Adami, which literally means Adam's apple. So it comes from the Latin, but the Latin comes from even older Hebrew, and that's where the mistranslation comes in. The word in Hebrew that is mistranslated as Adam actually just means man. And so it wasn't Adam's apple, it was as we all joked about at the beginning, the distinctive feature that men have larger Adam's apples. So we say Adam's apple now, but it was in Hebrew, it's originally just sort of like man's throat, something like that.
I
And then
remember
that got mistranslated into Latin, and then that Latin got mistranslated, or translated into English.
I remember growing up, my dad would bring home for a special treat. They were called Chinese apples, and they were pomegranates. And something you said sounded like palm. So I'm going to take your Latin back to the ancient Chinese dialect instead.
And so you should.
Snap.
All right. I'm going to...
I'm going to hit it back with Snapple.
Some of my colleagues have suggested that I rely too much on constructive criticism and that if I really want to build up my students' self-esteem, I should give more positive reinforcement. So I have here in my hand a list of 101 random ways to praise children. So let me just give you guys one. You guys are the best!
Oh, that's high praise.
Okay.
Wait, first you called us children, which is an insult, and then you gave the compliment in an angry, aggressive voice.
I'm going to disagree and say, finally.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're like the teacher I never had.
In India. Now we're going to turn our attention to your next quiz topic,
Or
which is
John would say, you're a much better teacher than his mom.
I didn't say that.
yes, but definitely not hotter. Which is
Mom
world
listens to this.
Which leads us to our next topic.
world
MILFs.
literature.
And also, I'm
literature.
going to get a picture of John's mom before I get on board with this.
Jerry, I'm completely distracted now. That's all I can
You've
say.
seen John's hair. That's all you need to know. Now
It's the hottest
She
thing
probably
I've seen.
has beautiful golden locks.
I have students.
Nope.
Eddie, pay attention. I'll send you the principal's office. I have here some biographical information from a very famous writer. You know this writer's name, I guarantee you, but you may not know a lot about this person's actual biography. What I'd like to do as a kind of quiz question is tell you some obscure things and see if you can guess who the writer is. Eventually, you'll probably guess, and then we'll cover a couple other things about this writer's career that's interesting.
Jerry, I
And
would like to
rice.
preemptively guess, is it Jesus?
The answer is always Jesus for Eddie.
And rice.
This person is not known for writing plays, but in fact, this person did write one play. But it's not a famous play, so you probably haven't heard of it. So this is my first obscure fact about this writer. They wrote a play called Politician.
J.D. Salinger.
10 points for a great guess. Minus 20 for being wrong.
God damn it.
All right, let me give you a factoid number 2.
That's negative 10 points. Do I get points for that math?
Jerry, just for the record, I would like to guess Jesus one more time.
Jesus is never the right answer.
He didn't
This-
write a thing.
This writer matriculated as a cadet at West Point.
Matriculated.
Oh, God. I know this one. Hold on.
I will add that the person never finished West Point. They intentionally left their post so they could get court-martialed, so they could get kicked out of the military.
Oh.
Colonel Clink.
Benedict Arnold.
No and no, but I...
What's that dude that wrote Catch 22? J.D. Salinger.
Joseph Heller wrote Catch 22.
Joseph Heller.
But what's the J stand for?
J.D.
Jesus?
Salinger.
Bam.
Being homeschooled, John actually learned that in kindergarten. Booyah!
Here's a third obscure factoid, getting slightly more famous. This person's reported final words on their deathbed may have been, or reported to have been, "Lord, help my poor soul."
My grandma.
Jesus for the third time, said Peter.
No, no, and no. It could have been your grandma, but she's not a noted literary figure. Sorry to tell you that if you didn't know.
I want to say
You
F.
know
Scott
of.
Fitzgerald.
No, but I like the way you're guessing. This person's first published work was called Tamerlane and Other Poems.
General Petraeus.
Tamerlane was a famous general, so there's a nice connection there, but no. Any of these factoids ringing any
Oh, yes.
bells?
I'm going to guess Tommy Franks high on weed.
No. This next factoid is the most famous of the things I've said, but isn't famous enough for anyone to know who the hell I'm talking about. Credited as the inventor of the detective fiction genre.
Bob Kane, creator of Batman.
Arthur Conan Doyle?
No. This person
Finger.
was born in 1835 and predates Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
In England,
He matriculated at West Point and
Oh.
was an American citizen.
Ben Franklin.
No.
Thomas Jefferson.
Literary figures. Help me out. Born in 1835. He was the first well-known American to try to earn a living through writing alone, which resulted in a lifelong of poverty.
James Fenimore Cooper.
No, but at least you finally named a literary figure.
James Joyce. Oh, no, he's Irish.
Hawthorne.
Also, where this is, let me just see. I misspoke a moment ago, so I'm going to apologize. I'm going to give you his proper year of birth, 1809.
Whoa.
Which is one of the things I love about this, is most people don't realize the writer I'm talking about is from that long ago.
Walt Whitman.
Died in 1849 at the tender age of 40.
Longfellow.
No, but you're finally getting in the more of the right direction. Born in Boston, Massachusetts, with a
Ben Affleck.
different name,
Oh.
and had foster parents.
Edgar Allan Poe.
We have a winner!
Booyah!
Gold star for Eddie Werner.
I feel like I should get some points for J.D. Salinger because I feel like J.D. Salinger was
I feel like
reincarnation.
depression should have been mentioned in the clues.
Also, giant head.
I did
should
mention
also
poverty. So something comedians can relate to. He was born Edgar Poe in Boston, Massachusetts, but his adopted father was John Allen. So as an adult, he called himself Edgar Allan Poe.
Sounds like someone's got daddy issues.
Well, he did.
Those at the door.
He was famous for marrying his cousin. He was 26, and how old was she?
so hot.
17,
Even younger.
16,
Even younger.
12,
Older.
13.
Ping pong, ping pong.
Bam.
5 points for Chris.
Wait.
He's my namesake.
Wait.
Edgar, Eddie, Edward. That's how I knew it.
And that's why out in Ravenna you married your 13-year-old cousin?
I have a hot twin sister, Edie, so I'm right in the
that doesn't make it
right in
better.
the wheelhouse.
Hotter than John's mom?
Haven't met her, but I'm not sure.
She's a teacher, by the way.
My mom?
The one of the things I find fascinating is simply people don't realize he's from like that far back.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
didn't.
Before the American Civil War, we're talking 1830s and 40s and so on.
Way ahead of his time.
Yeah, so here's a couple of his most famous stories. Do you know when they were published? Murders in the Rue Morgue.
1824.
1993.
1850.
I will say I mentioned his first collection, Tamerlane and Other Poems. So that was his first published work, 1827. And I said he died in 1849.
Close.
So all the answers are between those 2 years.
1830.
Yeah, the Murders in the Rue Morgue is considered the first modern detective story and was published in 1841.
Never read that one.
Good God.
His famous short stories, Telltale Heart, Pit in the Pendulum, and The Black Cat, all published 1842 and 43, like during that 12-month period.
This is making me feel much better.
I
about
know
my life.
murder in the Rue Morgue, French. Rue is red, which is for blood.
So around the same time Abraham Lincoln was a lawyer, I want 5 points for that.
If you had saved that for the extra credit portion of the test, you could have gotten bonus points then.
Oh, I
Do you
something
have
very
any
good.
more Lincoln questions?
And what, now looking back, his single most famous work would be...
The Raven.
Chris jumped in first,
Bam,
10 points
suck
for
it,
Chris.
John.
And I am from Ravenna, and the mascot for the high school, the Ravenna Ravens. So there's another connection.
I was going to guess the Bourne Identity.
A true pothead answer.
The Telltale Heart is pretty widely popular too.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's
Definitely.
stupider than the Raven.
How about the cask of Amontillado?
And it's
The first
stupider
story I
than the
read
word
that in
stupider.
of Edgar Allan Poe's. I think 8th grade we had to read that.
Since John is homeschooled, he read it in 7th grade.
The Raven
Nevermore.
was on the 6th season of The Simpsons.
So was the Telltale Heart
Caw-caw!
Oh, I didn't think he was going to get that.
Well, not only does the Raven
John learned that in kindergarten.
say nevermore, but my grade book says nevermore. I have one other topic I want to quiz you on for a few minutes. And this is something I'm always interested in is,
Human sexuality.
no, I'm never interested in that. Minus 5 points.
PG.
Skepticism and debunking urban legends and mythology.
Oh, this is my jam.
All right.
So much conspiracy
We're in
theory,
Chris's
guys.
wheelhouse. Look out, folks.
I want to say that I have an article here that was published in Skeptic Magazine by Dr. Harriet Hall, who deals with medical issues related to urban legends. So most of the facts and details that constitute my questions and answers come from her article.
I've read all her alien autopsies.
Jenny McCarthy is full of crap.
And
Quite
silicone.
probably. Quite probably. This topic, I'll just tell you the topic up front, then we'll do some questions, is what do you really know about acupuncture?
Oh, God.
The answer is everything you think you know is wrong.
What if I already thought that everything I think is wrong?
The old double reverse logic.
5 points for Chris.
All right.
Damn it, Chris.
How old, like how far back in history does acupuncture go?
Oh, like 4 BC with the Chinese.
4 or 4,000?
Oh, yeah.
No, like 4 BC.
I'm going to go 3 or 4,000 BC.
There were acupuncture and things way back.
Way back?
Also, does that mean that there's like a conspiracy theory behind acupuncture now?
There's a lot of misinformation about it.
Oh
No,
my God. I'm gonna make
acupuncture
a
is
video.
the conspiracy theory, I think.
Guys, I'm making an acupuncture conspiracy movie.
Well, no, I'm sorry. You need more than 2 people to believe in it to be a conspiracy.
And a
Well-
visual for you watching at home, John Hoffner has 4 needles in his neck right now.
My movie's going to be called Punctured Accurately.
What about factupuncture?
Oh,
We have a winner.
there's that homeschool knowledge.
The usual claim of people who follow acupuncture is that it's around 3,000 years old. That's the legend.
Oh, so I'm right.
That's close. That's
So
pretty
you
close.
two, Eddie and Krish, were close to that estimate. However, it is in fact not that old. On the left hand, even in Chinese records, the earliest reference to needling goes to about 90 BC.
Oh, Lincoln was only still a lawyer.
Yes, which is about 2,000 years ago, like Krish said. However, so you get partial credit.
And by needling, they meant boinking.
Well, minus 10 points. By needling, they meant bloodletting.
And it's canoodling.
Yes, that's canoodling.
Such to our PG-13. Cobbling is okay, Chris.
The archaeological evidence for needles that are over 2,000 years old in China are not what acupuncture needles are today. They were much like broader instruments, and they would have been used for bloodletting, not for like chi manipulation or pain manipulation. Now,
Morose. That's
question
morose.
number 2. Just one other factoid from the article. This is just because I find it interesting. The actual earliest accounts of Chinese medicine that reached the West, which was in the 1200s, none of those accounts mentioned acupuncture at all. So it was not considered even being practiced in China, even by the 1200s.
It's because they were too focused on fireworks.
Yes, an actual useful invention.
They
Yes.
use those to punch holes.
Fire hole puncture.
Fire punctures.
Fireworks punctures. Where? I'll accept a country. Was acupuncture therefore first invented?
Boom, I got this one. India.
We have a vote for India. Anyone want to challenge the Indian man on that?
I want to say China, but it's too obvious, so I'm going to go off the record for Mongolia.
Sucker.
Mongolia is always the sucker's answer.
Was it Japan?
It was
China.
It was an Austrian called William
Austria.
Reen in 1680. We're not sure if he was in Austria or Germany. And he wrote about a form of acupuncture, although being European and not Asian, he did not mention anything about like key points or the mystical side of it. He was just talking about could you use needles to relieve pain in patients.
But wait. Why would history remember anyone who was like, oh, you're in pain? Here, let me put some needles in your body.
It's true. It's just like an
Well,
Austrian to think that
It was
needles-
tried, 5 points for an astute question. It was tried on and off in Europe after that, and it basically never caught on because it was disgusting and didn't work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In fact, it was used in 1826 in America as a possible means to resuscitate drowning victims.
So they were like, this
Just
person
like
is
Americans.
drowned. Let's put needles in their body and
Correct.
see what happens.
Works in the cartoons. Drain all the water out.
Through even the early 20th century, there's no Western account of acupuncture or acupuncture points, the key points. There are the meridians. And the first writer or medicine man to try to bring that into it was a Frenchman. So again, it wasn't even a Chinese person.
Oh, the French.
Of course.
Gross.
Oh, I know this one. It was Jean-Claude
Van
Van
Damme.
Acupuncture.
In fact, in the 1800s, now I'm going to ask you a question,
Oh,
the Chinese government banned acupuncture,
Good for them.
but it was revived in the
Oh, no.
1960s. Why?
They were all stoned and on LSD in protest of the Vietnam War.
Not quite, but I like the way you think.
that's when the Great Wall of China was built. So we can
Fact,
do anything behind these walls.
That's
the
canoodling.
Great Wall of China is actually a giant serpent that the Avengers had to fight once.
You're wasting all these factoids. You should get extra credit for them.
Did you guys see that new Geico commercial where
No,
the Great Wall of
we-
China is only like 2 feet tall? That's the bomb.
Geico is in no way a sponsor of this podcast, nor do we endorse their product in any way.
Also, that's more like the moderate Wall of China.
What in the 1960s caused a resurgence of acupuncture in China?
LSD.
Not LSD,
Opium.
not opium.
Oh, nuclear fallout.
Mao Zedong was out, Nixon, Dayton. It was like East and West meeting for happy times.
You're combining two things.
I always do that.
The
Neither
but
are true.
I always do that too.
the chocolate vanilla strawberry ice cream.
Neapolitan.
Italian.
It was Mao who
Napoleon
brought
ice cream.
acupuncture back to China, and it was Mao's government that coined the phrase traditional Chinese medicine. And he did it because he wanted to have socialized medicine as a new communist country, but they couldn't actually afford socialized medicine.
And needles are relatively inexpensive.
As is a lot of the aspects of traditional Chinese
It's like
medicine.
the poor man's healthcare basic plan.
So Mao himself thought it was nonsense, but it was the only thing he could afford to export to the country in small villages and things to try to get them some kind
Are
of
you
medical help.
saying that Obamacare is BS?
No,
Obamacare needs
unless
to
it
adopt
covers
acupuncture.
acupuncture. That would be BS. I will say, what Eddie brought up does preempt a question I was going to ask, which is what brought acupuncture back to the attention of the Western world, and that was Nixon's trip in 1972.
How come I wasn't right?
LSD
Mao,
trip.
China, Nixon, Dayton,
Because-
East and West, and you're telling me I'm wrong.
Correct.
Help me to understand, Professor.
Listen very carefully. 89. That's your new nickname because it's your IQ. Now, the answer is because the question was, what caused a resurgence of acupuncture in China? And détente with Nixon had nothing to do with the resurgence of acupuncture in China.
Duh.
That's why your answer was wrong.
No, I got this. They just found a bunch of needles under a mattress.
Well,
Which
they
helped
saw
them
that.
cut costs.
They finally saw Aladdin, where that one dude was laying on a bed of needles, and they were like, "That looks pretty cool. Let's do that all the time."
During Nixon's trip to China in 1972, one of his aides had needed an emergency appendectomy, and a small part of his treatment, because he had a proper medical surgery, was acupuncture for pain management, and then that got reported back to the West because there was a press corps following the president, and then that got it on people's attention in America and in Western Europe again.
Wait. So Nixon was not on the level?
Well, there was, as usual, Nixon was on the level. It was the press that was destroying him.
Just like the press.
I want to give you one more interesting statistic.
Wait, if the press were acupuncture, do you think it would have changed this whole situation?
Carrying on,
I'll take that for an explicit no.
a question might be: do Chinese doctors today, in the modern world, use traditional Chinese medicine? And in 1995, which is a few years ago, but in 1995, some American physicians went to China to find out this question. If you had to guess, which you do, what percentage of doctors in China use traditional Chinese medicine in their practices?
5.
Less than 5.
We have
20.
about 5, less than 5, 20. Eddie, take a guess.
I would say the urban ones I picture to be more advanced and research based, so they would be out, but the rural ones would be like eat this root or eat this potato kind of thing. I'm going to guess higher, like 50%.
Well, you're sort of reflecting the Mao model that in the poorer places all they could afford to be. But this is just a basic
Also,
statistic
just a
that
tiny
doesn't...
bit classist.
A little bit, but so was Mao. According to that trip, the answer was 20%, actually. Chris Paul gets full credit. A+. Nice.
Damn it.
All right.
Good job, Chris.
As of now, I'm ahead of Hoffner, right?
I think Hoffner's officially only still has his 100 bonus points from before we started to help him catch up with Chris. All right. Well, while I calculate my final grades, I'm going to give each of you a chance to earn extra credit. So we're going to go around the table, and if you have a quick factoid or interesting trivia point that you'd like to share, perhaps about your home country, feel free.
Oh.
Home country.
Who would like to go first? Let's get this going.
Somebody else go first. I've been drinking.
I have a morbid one.
Let's lay it on us, John.
The Jonestown massacre was the largest intentional loss of U.S. civilian life until the September 11th attacks.
Okay. It seems like there's a lot of qualifiers in that sentence that need fact-checking, but it is an interesting claim.
Zip it, Warner.
Chris Paul's ready to go.
Abraham Lincoln lived for 9 hours after he was shot in the head.
He definitely lived for several hours, so I'll take that 9 as a likely number. Eddie?
The best Summer Olympics, hands down, I have ever seen, 2008, Beijing. So the Chinese kick ass all the way around, Olympic style.
I want to note that 2008 is also when the housing market crashed.
So take that, Eddie Werner.
Yeah.
Also, Eddie Warner's just stating opinion right there. That's all that is. Clearly, the best Olympics were in '86.
Professor, I feel like I'm being ganged up on by the other students. Can I borrow your revolver?
Well, your ex-wife called us and told us to.
The magazine.
And Krish.
I'll say this. Contrary to popular belief, despite the fact that India does have the second largest population in the world, we like doing it more than Chinese people do.
Kama Sutra, baby.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
I've also heard that India has the most billionaires in the world.
Probably. We're pretty smart at
wanna
fudging
know-
the numbers.
I want to know that I'm white, and I very much like doing it too.
You should move to India, apparently.
Clean up.
Yes, absolutely. Just get all your shots before and after your trip. All right, so that just leaves it for me to tally the final grades. And we find that John has his original 100 points.
Yay.
Eddie has 90 points. Chris Paul has 105 points. And the winner of today's Golden Banana, the token foreigner, Krish Mohan.
Yeah! What's up?
So it just remains for me, your host, Dr. Jerry Jaffe, to thank
Wait.
you, my students, Eddie, John, Chris, and Krish. Thank you, guys.
I'm coming back for 18 more episodes.
Gold Star Classroom is written and produced by Jerry Jaffe. Our producer and engineer is Stephen Gutierrez. Original music composed and produced by Jeff Geddert. Mr. Geddert is also our assistant producer. All commentary and opinions expressed by guests of Gold Star Classroom are meant for entertainment purposes only. For Gold Star Classroom, I'm Jerry Jaffe.